So what do we work on typically when we're doing coaching and consulting with our clients here at GYDA Initiative? Well, there are sort of 4 or 5 categories which you can specifically look at and talk about. The first one is strategy. Where on earth are we going? Where on earth are we going? How are we going to get there? What does the future look like? What does the future agency look like? The second one is finance. Why are we not making more revenue, or why are we not making more profit, or how do we become more profitable, or how can we invest in the future of the business, or should we be growing the business in the way we are, which is also a strategy, obviously. The next one is marketing. Why won't people buy more stuff from us? How do we present ourselves? Why should people bother to buy from us when they can buy from the competition? What makes us different from the rest? How can we attract the sort of clients that we really want to be working with? The next one is operations, processes, and systems. How can we run a more effective business? How can we give clients what they really want? How can we get the right systems, the right process, the right hierarchy in place for the next step? And the next piece is really about people and culture. Again, have we got the right people? How do we get the right people? How do we maintain the culture? And then there's also this big piece which people kind of avoid most of the time, which is around exit. At some point I'm going to leave this agency. So when I leave the agency, what do I want to leave? And more importantly, what do I want to take with me? And how is that actually going to manifest itself in the business? So strategy, finance, marketing, operations, people and culture, exit. I mean, these are the sort of subject areas which we talk about. So let me just run you through a couple of examples, and this will explain how actually it's never actually quite so clean. So one is a 70-80 person agency where the founders wanted a senior management team to take over and run the day-to-day part of the business. So that involved, figuring out what the strategy for the agency was, figuring out what the personal strategies for the owners was, figuring out who the new senior team might be, what capabilities and competencies they would require, and how could we train them up to take over, and how could we put in place the systems and processes, everything from the boardroom all the way through to KPIs reporting to make that happen in the business. Another example we're working on at the moment, in fact we're doing this in 2 different agencies, is where the owner-founder has decided to leave the business, and what was in effect the director of operations or director of marketing has been promoted up to essentially MD stroke CEO to run the business. So someone who's been very good at running a department now has to have the skills to run the board and run the entire business. And again, this is about what is the strategy for the business? What do we want this business to look like in a year's time, 3 years' time? How do we want to behave? What do we want to be known for? And how do you actually make that happen? And also, how do you give someone who essentially is an employee the entrepreneurial skills to understand how to run a business, which has normally been run by a character or a personality? Other projects include, just literally how do we grow our profits by 30%, which then means you've got to look back at the way in which the business runs. You then got to look at who the clients are and what the products and services are, and you look at efficiency and effectiveness and how to make that happen. Another one was how do we make the agency more sustainable? So that's looking at processes and systems. But you can see that whichever you look at, there is interlinking between where are we going strategy, financial performance, marketing performance, operations performance, people and culture, and then there's this kind of wraparound around the exit strategy if there is one. So those are the sorts of projects that we work on here at GYDA.